Hey Roguetech fans, Blaine here. Welcome to the Mechattan Project and Season 3. This big update to Roadtech sees some important changes to the install options. So I've updated my install options tutorial to cover those changes and guide you with what each option actually means. So this is my first one, Tutorial 1, Install Options. I'm afraid there's not going to be any battle mechs fighting each other, tanks blowing up. This is just to help people get to grips with basically all of these different options we've got. When you're looking through this video, I suggest if there's a particular area you're interested in, just skip forward, find the one you want, and hopefully what I sort of blabber about will help you. Anyway, first things first, when you're installing Roadtech, make sure that your install target points to the correct position, and I suggest strongly that you put your workspace in somewhere different, like these two, for example, that I use. More often than not, when people have problems installing, it's because one or other of these are incorrect. Also, never run the launcher from the downloads file. Move it somewhere safe. Like, for example, I have mine just within the Roadtech cache area. Right, if you want to reconfigure or if you want to initially install Roadtech, you have the install options. If you want to get this available after installing, just hit update and install, wait for that to finish, and then the reconfigure Roadtech button will become lit. This will then bring up this window here of Roadtech configurations. So what are they? First things first, a lot of them refer to online progress. What is online progress? I'm not going to bother covering that here. Jamie has already written a really good comprehensive guide if you go and visit roguewar.org. So let's start looking at the options. The first one we have is online or offline mode. There are now only two options here, the offline Wartech 2C or the online. The most common misconception I hear about online is players think this means PvP, which puts them off. There's no PvP. Online will always be against the AI. Compared to offline, online adds loads of really cool features, such as black markets, online stores, the new MRBC Mercnet, and events like Blake Sember, and potential access to extremely valuable, unique RTO rewards, if your faction wins an event. There are loads of ways to play online. Treat it as a solo career, become a merc for hire, join a faction and take out however much part you like in the politics. If you've not tried online, I suggest you give it a go. Okay, now we can move on to difficulty scaling. Here you've got three options. You've got by company, by planet, or the old legacy scaling. The company is really cool. It's basically 14 million C-bills per half skull averaged over your last 8 drops. So this excludes some missions such as Jules and Solaris, and it gives you a plus 5% online progress. If you prefer planet difficulty, this sets every planet so it never changes in difficulty level. Maximum difficulty is limited to 20, which is 5 orange skulls. Doesn't have any impact on your online progress. The third one is how we used to do it. This time it's 16.5 million C-bills per half skull, but it counts your 8 most expensive mechs in your hangar. This was changed to stop the use of hangar queens, basically very expensive units that are only there to raise your difficulty. This option will limit your online influence to just 10. So now we move on to support lances. Here you've got 4 different options, including a new one, kill teams. I'll get to that later. What you've got default, kill teams, easy, or no support lances. The first one, default. This is the option that gives you 0 to 1 additional op4 lances from green skull difficulty, so that's 0 to 10. After difficulty 11, orange skulls, you will have a chance to see up to 2 additional support lances. Beyond a certain difficulty, you should always expect to see 2 support lances during the op4. Previously, this was the only option that you could really make significant influence gains, but now we also have kill teams. This is a seriously hardcore option. While it means you will only ever see at most 1 support lance from difficulty 13, so that's 1.5 orange skulls, the mechs and pilots are uber elites. The Roadtech crew have designed kill team mechs to be highly optimized, just like our own endgame units. If you pick this, don't expect it to be easy. Also, while most of the mechs you face in a kill team cannot be salvaged, their weapons still can. Although I have been told there are 2 mechs that can be salvaged. The next option is easy. With this option you'll never see more than 1 support lance, however this will reduce your online progress by 50% and it'll limit your influence gains to a maximum of just 10. And then the easiest option of all, no support lances. I mean, okay, this is okay if you want to perhaps farm some mechs and stuff, but it absolutely hammers the impact you can have with the map. So you'll never see a port lance, but your online progress is reduced by 90% and your influence potential is capped at just 6 per mission. Moving on to Spawn Randomizer, this gives you two options. You can either have random, where enemy lances can appear literally anywhere on the map for deployment, or you can disable random starting positions. If you disable it, it's going to reduce your online progress by 2%. Now we can have battle deployments. Here we have three different options: manual, ask, and automatic. Manual deployment, this option allows you to pick where on the map you deploy. There are restrictions though. You can either pick to drop within the radius of the default deployment zone, or you can opt to drop literally anywhere else on the map, as long as there are no enemy spawns that are going to be too close. This option does reduce your online progress by 2%, plus when your units drop, they won't have spawn protection. That means no pips, but you will start braced. With most maps, you will deploy using a dropship, so your units all have to be fairly close together. Sometimes though, with most urban maps, you use drop pods. When this happens, you can drop every unit independently anywhere on the map, again assuming they're not too close to an enemy spawn point. The second option asks you at the start of each map whether you want manual or automatic. Just like manual though, it has the same -2% online progress. The third option is the automatic. This is the old default deployment, where your units all drop within the deployment zone. However, that can easily mean that they drop among enemy units, but at least they will start with spawn protection of 6 pips and fully braced. Next we have convoys. Here you've got two options, manual or AI. It's a no-brainer, I would just always go with manual. The AI sometimes has issues where it stops moving. At least with manual you get full control of the units. You can give them move orders, you can give them shooting orders, so just stick with manual. Map size is the next one. First thing to clear up, every time you load a mission, the entire map will load. The map size only restricts where on the map the current mission will take place. The biggest difference you see is how long your missions take. With 100% map size, you could have to move a long way to reach each target group. As for online progress, you get a bonus of 5% for picking the 33% map, 10% for the 60%, and also 10% for the 100%. Next, whether or not you have allies. This needs little explanation. You either pick to get allies that sometimes turn up to help you, or not. However, allies can be a double-edged sword. I've had my own mechs caught from behind by a friendly fire incident thanks to my damned allies. Combat log. Floaties is the old one. This is where you basically get the damage coming up from the mechs as it happens. Or you can have a combat log in the top right of the screen where you can then look back over it. I think the majority of us now stick with a combat log simply because you cannot review what happened with floaties, whereas the combat log lets you scroll all the way back, so it's much more useful. Now we move on to the pilot randomizer. Pick Ronin if you want to get some decent starting pilots. Pick random generated if you don't mind mostly getting standard pilots, like those you find in the typical hiring hall. The second option does give you a small boost to online progress too. Okay, concrete jungles. This will change your urban maps either into a war-torn nightmare that mentioned, or not. If you choose a war-torn nightmare, you'll frequently encounter ambushes during urban missions. This can include traps and ambushes such as troops inside buildings firing at you, or even units of mechs and vehicles bursting out of concealed locations. You also gain 2% online progress if you pick this option. Something new for this version of Roadtech is that the download content modules are now automatically detected by the installer. This means that if you don't have a specific vanilla expansion installed, you won't see the options below that are linked to it. So if you're watching this and can't see something I'm talking about, it's probably because you don't own or haven't got it installed with regards to the relevant expansion pack. At least you can see what you might be missing out on. So eras. While vanilla Battletech was set in around pre-3062, much of the Roadtech content is from later eras. With Season 3 online, we're in the 3080s with regards to the map. These options quite simply let you add one or more set of units from various eras, including later eras such as the Dark Age. If you visit the main Roadtech wiki, you can see which eras you need to have active for specific mechs to be included. I tend to use just one additional era per career. For Season 3, I'm matching the map age by only going for 3080 to 3130. So the optional mods. You'll now see Prototech, Proto-Mechs has gone. This has been moved to one of the core Roadtech modules, so it's no longer optional. So, Urbocalypse. Ask yourself, do you like urban mechs? If the answer is yes, this probably isn't for you. On the other hand, if you absolutely love everything Urby, then go for it. For another 1% progress, you'll add dozens of Urbies. You'll find Urbies appear a lot early on. Not only will it add normal Urbies, you'll find yourself seeing Urby Lambs, Urby Tanks, 70-ton Urby Lords, Urby Turrets, Urby Copters, and, as long as you select the Super Heavy option, 110-ton Urban King. Custom Omni-Mechs add some very tough mech configurations. Be aware that these buggers can be nasty. It will also add an extra 2% online progress for your troubles. Pirate Tech is another highly customised set of units. Honestly, anything pirate can be as dangerous to the enemy as to your own unit. Some of the pirate tech can be devastating to fight, so again beware, this does add some really tough opponents, but worth another 2% online progress. Elite pilots and mechs include some of Idjit's and other mods' evil creations. These pilots break the mould and have some skills and abilities far beyond those you'll see with your own pilots. The mechs they use are highly optimised killing machines. Only pick this if you want to sometimes face incredibly tough opponents for yet another 2% online progress. Risk content is the next option. Think of these a little like pirates, without the plain stupidity. Risk tech is seriously cool and frequently much better than the equivalent tech. This option will add another 1% online progress and give you access to what I think is some of the coolest stuff in Roadtech. The Society Tech. This is basically improved clan tech. In many ways it's similar to Risk, but with that clan feel, so lots more Omnis. It'll award you another 1% online progress and provide access to some really cool Society units and gear. Super Heavies. Loads of players I've talked to miss out on this one because they think it means you'll have Super Heavy units potentially appear in any mission. You won't. Super Heavies are pretty much restricted to Super Heavy tagged missions, and these come with warnings. If you see the mission text DANGER in bold red letters, you know there's going to be Super Heavy units present. With the Mechattan Project update, a huge increase in content has been added. There are now over 100 Super Heavy units. Plus, all Super Heavy mechs have been massively redesigned. I cannot recommend this option enough. So much fun, plus another 1%. The nuclear option does what it says on the tin. Nukes in Roadtech can win or lose you a mission with a single volley. They're expensive to use and highly dangerous. There's no online progress for taking this pick, but if you do, you will find unique nuke carrying units, and nuke ammo can appear for any other unit in the Op4 as long as the ammo shuffler allows it. Experimental weapons. Again says what it does. This will add a bunch of prototype and experimental tech. A lot of these can be nasty to face, but it does mean you might salvage some of this awesome gear, plus gain another 2% online progress. Now we have two new quick sell options. It's quick sell, what can I say? It looks great at first glance, but you are getting dodgy gear that fell off the back of a convoy. This stuff is fun, but so broken in many cases. Enjoy it, but don't rely on it. There are even now quick sell super heavy mechs. Would you trust them? Although you do gain another 2% online progress for each. Kraken Good Times. Ever heard of Squid Game? Want your pilots to sometimes be forced to take part in the Roadtech version? Then this is for you. Expect to have some random pilots die during your career due to Kraken events, but you never know, they might bring some extremely rare and valuable gear home for you, if they survive. You get 1% progress if you have little regard for your own pilot's safety. Operation Revival. This is another new one that's been added. This time this adds a slew of new clan mechs and vehicles based on the Zukov series of Alternative Universe TRO. Most of these are clan Hellhorse units. It's also worth another 1% progress. Now we move on to additional Flashpoints. You'll only see these options if you both own and have the Flashpoints expansion pack installed. So the first one we've got is the Urana Restoration. This lets you experience much of the single-player vanilla campaign, as told by a rather drunk Duncan Fisher. Don't expect him to have a fully accurate recollection of events. LV426. Ever seen the Alien movies? This option unlocks Xenomech content for Roadtech. The Black Marauder, Xeno Queen, Cockroaches, Serpentis Black. Love it myself. It's fun, but the Xeno missions, once unlocked, are extremely difficult. The Drones of Siberia brings Transformers to Roadtech. This is a fun chain of flashpoints. Plus it unlocks additional missions that you sometimes get to fight against these guys. You also get some highly unique rewards by completing each part of the chain. I'm not going to spoil it because they are awesome. Heretic is the next one. For a fan of Warhammer 40k like me, this option adds flashpoints that bring the Emperor's troops into Roadtech. Hell, you even get to fight against a 316-ton Baneblade. Really good fun, love it. The Super Heavy Flashpoints option adds a bunch of extra flashpoints with super heavy targets, sort of. Who would have thought? This means you get to fight against the likes of the Mechattan and Mothball. Once completed, these units are also unlocked, so can appear in certain missions. The Legends series of flashpoints lets you fight alongside some of the greatest heroes and units within Battletech lore. They're quite good fun and add a lot of sort of really good story-driven content. The final option is the Battle of Tukid. This basically adds the flashpoint that lets you fight the battle yourself. This is an extremely long, and I mean extremely long and hard flashpoint to win. But if you want to fight against lots and lots and lots of clanners in the middle of the inner sphere, then hell, this is perfect. Next, we're moving on to some of the additional hireable Ronin. Many of the modding team, first of all, have got Ronin pilots based on them. So you can find like Dan, who is called Dan, which subtle, and other modding community team members within that section. If you choose the Jarnfolk pilots, this brings to you a bunch of pilots that memorialise Season 1 of the online map, where the Jarnfolk took control of the vast majority of the systems and even became a new clan by winning a trial of combat against Clan Wolf. Rise, Clan Sprucefisk. Next you've got the Omega Squad. This brings a bunch of extra pilots that are considerably better than your standard hireable goons. It's quite a good one to pick if you want to have some really nice ones appear sometimes. The next option down is the Mandalorian pilots and emblems. This brings you some Mandalore themed Star Wars universe pilots to Roadtech. I love it. The final option is the Roadtech Online movers and shakers. What Jamie and his team have done here, they've actually added pilots that they have decided have become legends during each online season. These pilots have all been active Roadtech players and all come with a unique skill, plus add some great memorialised content. The emblems section doesn't really need much to say about. Each one of these adds different emblems that you can use to customise your company with different logos. The portrait loader options allow you to increase the range of available portraits for your commander or to customise your pilots with. Now we're moving back to another option that actually does affect the game directly: evacuated cities or not. Quite simply, if you like hearing screams as buildings tumble and cars get squashed, then pick that they didn't evacuate. If screams are not to your liking, then get those cities emptied. The Fire FX update within the original vanilla Battletech had towering plumes of smoke. This updated version is a little more restrained. As far as I'm aware, most of us opt for this. The Fog of War option is pretty self-explanatory, so pick whichever you prefer. As for the night vision option, if you choose night vision overlay, any unit of yours that has electronics with night vision will overlay the map in a green tint when you select it. The next one is fog visibility. Now, fog within Roadtech always used to be a little bit on the thin side, so it was really difficult to understand why sometimes you kept missing. It has recently been fixed, so fog density is actually real, and believe me, you can see it. It can be like a pea soup, but yeah, I love it. And being able to actually see that it's really dense fog explains why your mechs just cannot hit the side of a barn. The speed mod is really good. It helps you to actually, well, I mean, the old vanilla one was lovely. You got to see the mechs stomping across the map, but it took a long time. The speed mod increases a whole range of different activities so that the gameplay takes a lot less time. So yeah, most of us I think probably use 100% or close. Quality of life options doesn't need much to say about there. Skip the intro. Yeah, makes it load up a bit faster. As for mech sorting, this is something that I personally don't like to use, but it does allow you to choose to automatically sort your mechs by cost, tonnage or name. I prefer my mech lab so that I can customize it and the position of the mechs within it myself. The FX options include some great alternatives to the vanilla game. There's also the travel cutscene option. This basically makes travel from one system to another much quicker than it used to be. Now we move on to coloured floaties. If you like seeing the state of your pilot's panic in full Technicolor, you can go for colour or not colour. And then you've also got, next one is style of alternative portraits for mech. It really again speaks for itself. That doesn't need much explanation, so pick whichever you prefer. This next option is really important, the tech and repair options. Original vanilla Battletech, every battle you fought, you then had free instant armor repair after the battle. If you pick that for the online map, it will hammer your online progress. 50% reduction, plus it will cap your influence to only 10. So honestly, if you want to have any effect on the online map, you pretty much have to go for repair after battles yourself. Next we've got localizations. The default for Roadtech obviously is in English, but there is also a Russian language localization if you wish to use it, so you can check here. The miscellaneous tasks, these two are pretty much there in case you're having trouble with your install. If you are, the second one, remove old Roadtech saves, make sure you back up your saves before you use that, otherwise you will be starting with a clean career. Final two options. You've got either multi-threading or default rendering. Given most CPUs these days are multi-threaded, it's just a no-brainer to go for multi-threaded rendering. And the final option is the Roadtech performance options. A lot of these have now been incorporated into the launcher as a direct optional choice. It used to be we had to go through a long old website to make all kinds of different changes to make the game run faster. Just tick it. It's like, you know, one tick, game works better. Yeah. All good. Anyway, I hope this guide to install options has been helpful. Please like, subscribe, etc. and catch my other tutorials. Catch you all on the battlefield.